from LPI Studios in Memphis, Tennessee. It's R&R on Sports with Uncle Howard Robertson.
His legacy is terrible with regard to the NBA.
Jennifer Conroy.
Anna Kournikova, she's terrible. But how much in endorsements did she have up until Serena now?
And the magnificent Larry Robinson.
Coaching changes. Scott Skiles just broke out and said, I'm out.
It's R&R on Sports.
Let me see those hands again. Hang on now. Hey, everybody jump, 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 jump.
Hello, and welcome to R&R on Sports. I'm Howard Robertson.
And I am Jennifer Conroy.
And I am the fantastic, the amazing, the extraterrestrial, the superstar of this show. I am Larry Robinson. What's up, America?
Hey, you keep saying extraterrestrial, man. You feel like you're an alien?
Yeah, I'm kind of like outside the norm.
Alien.
I'm kind of outside the norm.
Seriously.
You know, I kind of add a little extra something to the whole stratosphere
Outside
of sports
of the
radio.
norm is accurate.
Yeah, well, you know, I'm
That's
extraterrestrial.
accurate.
I'm
That's accurate.
extraterrestrial.
All right, I got a song.
You know.
Hey, Chicago, what do you say? The Cubs are the World Series champs today.
Yeah, they are. Go
Man, that
Cubbies.
might be the
Yes!
most amazing
Yes!
Game 7 in World Series history, man. Literally, it was phenomenal.
Had everything.
I'm telling
Had
you,
all kind of drama.
Yeah.
including the rain delay.
And goats.
You said, listen, you know, I love the way the spirits work and that, you know, we had to wait 108 years for Chicago to be there, as well as with Cleveland, and 60-something odd years for Cleveland.
Oh, yeah.
But then the fact that it just had all of these elements. It had intrigue, suspense, you know, screw-ups. It just had everything that you could possibly have.
LeBron and the fellas had a good time.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
did.
yeah. LeBron had
now,
a good time.
If Cleveland had won, I think that they should have just won water. Because, you know, if you want to be an Indian, you should be treated like one.
You know, I just couldn't get over the Cleveland Caucasians. I just couldn't find myself rooting for the Cleveland Negroes. I just couldn't get over the fact that the Cleveland Barbadians, you know, I just couldn't get over that. The Cleveland Australians,
Somebody should just drive a pipeline right through it.
yeah, you know,
Wahoo.
yeah, man, I hate that. I hate the fact that
You hate the Redskins, too. For
I hate
that
the
reason,
Redskins. I hate all of that junk, man, because I promise you, if they were called the Cleveland
Larry,
Negroes,
You are
And
you are clearly alone in that. By and large, the majority of the American public believe it's
folks.
totally fine.
No, I don't think the conscious. I don't think the conscious
There's
people
no
do.
protesting and whatnot about
That's because they're protesting for clean water. The American government forgot we had Indians, and
And they're Native Americans, and literally the whole Indian concept is because a guy got lost.
Yeah.
He got lost in the ship, so he thought he arrived in India. So he just came in. That's the ultimate white privilege, white supremacy right there.
Absolutely.
I'm gonna find you when
redefine
you weren't lost, but I'm gonna find you and I'm gonna name you Indians. You know, since this is India where I'm lost and I'm clearly not in India. I'm gonna name this area the West Indies, and I'm gonna name y'all Indians.
And forever you shall be.
And forever you shall be that.
And we will name our sports teams after you.
And we're gonna name sports teams after you. Yeah. I just hate it, man. I could never root for anything that calls themselves the race or the nationality or the way we refer to another group of people. It's just so disrespectful. It bothers the heck out of me. It does.
Preach.
It really bothers me,
apparently
man.
are alone.
It bothers me.
But we have so
I'm glad that Cleveland lost. I'm glad they lost.
They did happen to blow a 3-1 lead, so there is that.
Yeah, they did. They did.
I
That's
guess
karma. That's karma.
Cubs are only
That's
the
karma.
sixth team to come back from a 3-1
Yes.
lead and win in Game 7. But it was not a
Game several.
Game several. Yes, it wasn't a walk in the park for him. But we're going to talk about this and a lot more on the other side of this. So stay with us. And we are back with our very, very special segment called What Mattered Most.
What
Yeah.
matters most?
I knew it was just a matter of time. He was going to find a
Before he
way to
started
sing.
that.
Yeah.
So what you think, JC? What mattered most?
What matters most right now is Colin Kaepernick put on a camp in Oakland for kids called Know Your Rights. And
Man, I love this dude.
yeah, I think people really thought that when he started the anthem protest that it was going to be very short-lived and not go anywhere, but he's really putting his everything where his mouth is. And so he put on this free camp for kids, and it was to teach them about their rights as people. And the rights that were laid out were things like you have the right to be free, you have the right to be healthy, you have the right to be brilliant, you have the right to be safe, you have the right to be loved, the right to be courageous, the right to be alive, the right to be trusted, the right to be educated, and the right to know your rights.
Beautiful, beautiful, man.
So it's self-empowerment
And
for
these were kids
mostly...
in Oakland.
This is
Yeah,
Black
kids in Oakland.
Pantherish. It's
Very Black Pantherish.
It's Black Pantherish, man. I mean, just really doing things that help people understand who they are and that they have value.
He had it last week.
Now, isn't that interesting that you could not be aware, as much as you're in the media and much as you read,
I
that this camp
aware of that.
was not promoted?
No, the only media personnel that was there was Sean King. Kaepernick plans to expand it outside of the Oakland area
Okay.
and make it hopefully a nationwide thing. But it's about making young African American and Latino kids be empowered and to feel beautiful and to have the sense of community in a very positive way.
Do you know how many they had on this first one?
I don't. A lot of the children were accompanied by parents.
Absolutely.
And there were seminars for parents which talked to them about how to teach their children about their rights and how to exercise those rights in different scenarios with law enforcement.
Now, I appreciate the way it's positioned in terms of that, because you probably wouldn't know, but we know that is not typically positioned to our children as a
Not at all.
quote-unquote right.
No.
Right.
African American children are not taught that they have a right to be educated, a right to be healthy, a right to be this or that.
Yeah.
So I think that's a beautiful thing.
I think it's an amazing thing. And I think for him to have done it with no press and to do it in his free time speaks volumes to his character and who he is. And I really hope that it expands to a nationwide thing.
And that really is what mattered most. We'll be back with more R&R on the other side of this.
This is Scoop Jackson, ESPN. You are listening to R&R on Sports.
She call me Mr. Bombastic, friendly fantastic. Touch me on me back, she says I'm Mr. Romantic, call me fantastic.
And we're back. Now,
What we got?
I just want to, because y'all know I've been rooting for the Cubs
Yes, you have.
and really, really pulling for them. I am so proud of them. This is for Ethel and Ed McCall, my great aunt and uncle, who were diehard Cubs fans and they were very young when in 1908. 1908, I think she might have been she might have been 12 in 1908, but she was down in Mississippi. This is before she moved up to Chicago. But anyway, the Cubs. You know what it reminded me of, guys? It reminded me of their path, their journey. Reminded me of and I challenge everybody to go find this poem. It's by Langston Hughes. It's called
favorites.
"Life for Me Ain't Been No Crystal Stair."
All right,
Go
now.
find that. Go find that. And
Now, how does that relate?
It relates because it is basically, that poem is about. It's essentially about the journey and lives of African Americans that we find ourselves in. When we we struggle, we move forward, we try to move forward. When we think that, and just at the time that we think that we're okay and things are gonna be all right, then guess what?
Life throws you a curveball.
Truly. And that's what it did. That was the Cubs' path. There was nothing easy about that Game 7.
No.
Not for either one of them, but particularly the Cubs.
Yeah, when you look at that whole 108-year path, I mean, you start looking at the Steve Bartman incident, and you got all those other issues,
and all of that,
and all of that stuff. Now they can, I guess, now they can make some curry.
They can change their size.
They can make some goat curry.
Well, you know, the pitching coach for the Cubs is from Germantown, Tennessee. His name is Mickey Callaway.
Okay.
Oh, wow.
So we have a
good
local
job,
connection.
Mickey. Congratulations. But Joe Madone, man. Joe Madone is just the epitome of cool. I want to call him Joe Cool, man, because he sits up with the cool glasses on. He's got the World Series hoodie on, and he's just like, he seems like he's just in control. Yeah. When everybody says he's doing some non-traditional with the Aroldis Chapman insertions.
He went through some pitches.
Man, dude, he manufactured a win like that. But I got another one, man. Theo Epstein. Yeah. He's killed 2 curses.
Yeah.
He killed 2 curses. He killed the one in Boston with the Red Sox.
Right.
And now he picked a big fight with that 108 and with Chicago. And I got to give props to Joe Madone and Theo Epstein for an amazing job. And it's been long overdue.
That game, I think this whole and all of the hoopla and attention and drama that came out, I think that did an immense amount of good for baseball.
Absolutely.
For the sport of baseball. You know,
I agree.
I mean, folks, for a lot of people, you know, the World Series is just a
game,
kind of necessary.
But this had all the elements of drama and sport.
The
Bill Murray.
Scottie
Pippen, who should never be allowed to sing anywhere.
LeBron was into LeBron and the boys were into it, and. It was beautiful to see LeBron there with the other players from the Cavs
supporting their team. I really think that says a lot about the character and how he, you know, when you read the letter about him going back, that he was going to mean so much to Northeast Ohio, right? And now he's doing, you know, this with the.
You're talking about a phenomenal ambassador for Cleveland.
Absolutely.
I mean, and an example for everybody. But here's the other thing about what the Cubs journey that reminded me of us. All right. At the rain delay, when they were in the clubhouse, Jason Hayward called a meeting.
We coming to Jesus.
They had a come to Jesus meeting. It was like going in the prayer closet, Jack. You know how we had to go in our prayer closet, and he said he had to remind them of who they were. They had a meeting in the weight room.
Oh, man.
Players only meeting in the weight room. And he said he had to remind them of who the hell they were.
And listen to this, you know, so many players mentioned that in the post-game interviews, how important that meeting was.
You see how emotional they were?
Yes, man. I mean, this is something you can't even fathom how big it is. This team will never have to pay a dime for a meal ever.
Nope.
in the city of Chicago. I mean, they will never have to pay, and they may throughout the United States.
Huge benefit,
I'm telling you, man, and that in fact you're gonna eat for free. They just gonna give them free McDonald's cards. Just wherever you want to go, because you know McDonald's in Oak Brook and so on and so forth. So you know Illinois. So you're gonna be like, look, y'all get free McDonald's wherever you go.
They got better eats than Mickey D's.
I hope so. They're going to be eating
deep
goat.
dish pizza. You got the Chicago
dogs.
Those dogs, man. They shouldn't have to pay for another.
Some pizza Capri, all that, man. You got to give it to them. Give it to them.
The chicken. What's the chicken? Y'all.
Harold's
chicken.
They go on the south side and get some Harold's chicken.
Thank you. But I think it was phenomenal. So
kudos to the Cubs.
Obviously the biggest.
I'm so happy they beat the Cleveland Negroes. I just can't stand it. I'm so happy, man. I'm sorry. I meant the Cleveland Caucasians. I'm so happy. No, the Cleveland South Americans.
What your Raiders doing?
Man, Derek Carr is tearing it up, man. I mean, in Crabtree and Amari Cooper. I mean, they are playing some ball out.
Are they serious? Are they real?
I think so.
I think so, man. My team is finally back. You know, my team finally got over the curse of Al Davis. The Cubs got over the 18, the curse of the GOAT, I guess. Yeah. And now the Raiders are over the curse of Al Davis.
They're back home. They're where they belong.
Well, they're going to be in Vegas soon.
I know.
You think so?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. Too much money. Too much money, man. Too much money.
Do you think they put an NBA expansion team in Vegas too?
I don't know if we're ready for that, but I find it interesting that David Stern has come out to talk about the gambling piece.
Yeah.
And that's something I think we ought to talk about at some point. We ought to get somebody in this sports gambling arena to talk to us on R&R. I think it'd be pretty cool to kind of hear.
If they ended up in Vegas, it would be one of the biggest travesties of sports.
Really? Why you say that?
I
You're
just
not
don't see that.
You done got some Holy Ghost?
Yeah.
You done got some Holy Ghost in you?
You know, I always had it.
Okay. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Lots happening in football.
Man, we ain't on my time of year, man. Basketball, brother.
Basketball.
And I got to give some props to two people.
Okay.
Russell Westbrook.
Okay.
James Harden.
All right.
Them two boys, man, they balling. But, you know, the James Harden piece, you got to kind of take with a grain of salt because everywhere Mike D'Antoni has been, the point guard has been amazing. Yeah. I mean, you know, you got Steve Nash. You got even New York, you had Raymond Felton. Then you had for 2 weeks, you had Jeremy Lin that just lit the world on fire. So James Harden is kind of in line with, you know, him being an offensive mastermind, you know, D'Antoni, that is.
You do just,
you know, it just kind of makes it kind of take a little bit of the polish off.
James Harden, an offensive mastermind.
No, I said, you know, D'Antoni, that is, but no, James Harden's a baller though.
Let me tell you the only problem you're gonna have. The only
thing
you're gonna have to look out for Russell is his arm falling off from shooting something.
Russell is gonna eat somebody alive at this point. He is fueled by pure rage.
Russell feels like he's got to shoot for himself and KD too. So he's taking all of the shots KD would have
Russell
taken.
is, if he keeps up this pace, I just can't see him lasting a whole year at this pace, man.
There's no way.
I mean, this dude takes no prisoners, and now he has no restraints. None whatsoever.
If he keeps it up, the rest of the team isn't going to move.
I mean, he's averaging a triple-double. I mean, a high triple-double, like 38 points a game. I mean, Russell Westbrook is a beast. And I see why Allen Iverson says he's his favorite player of all time.
All right. We have got a tremendous show today. Great eye conversation. Do not leave. We will be back with more R&R on the other side of this.
Hey, this is Dr. J.
Hi, this is Rika Ketchum.
This is John Hollinger, Vice President of Basketball Operations for the Memphis Grizzlies. Tim Brown, NFL Hall of Fame inductee. You are listening to R&R on Sports.
Go, shorty, it's your birthday. We gon' party like it's your birthday. We gon' sip Bacardi like it's
And we are here with Eye Conversation, and today we have a unique person, very, very unique person. The icon is bobsledding and a bobsledder. We have with us Sable Otey with Team USA Bobsled Brakeman. Sable, welcome to R&R on Sports.
Thank you.
We are
wait, stop. How does a sister? How does a black woman?
Here we go.
Born and raised
she saw the movie
in Memphis, Tennessee, end up on the U.S. Bob.
Why are you yelling?
I'm sorry. I'm just trying to figure out how sister end up being a bobsledder.
Because she's awesome.
Ain't no snow around here. Ain't nobody skiing in Memphis, Tennessee. How you doing, Sable?
Tell him how you ended up becoming. It's a great story. Go ahead.
Well, I actually did not watch the movie until this year.
Cool Run.
And they made you watch it,
It's about
didn't
the
they?
Jamaican bobsled
Everybody
team.
kept asking me, have you seen the movie? I'm like, nope, haven't seen the movie. So I finally watched it. My godbrother told me about it. He was just like, hey, you know, you did track. I tried out for it. You should go. And I was like, okay, you know, I didn't really think I would make the team. I didn't really have a lot of confidence in it because I'd never done it before. And when I actually got to the combine was sprinting, jumping, and throwing the shot put. So it was like basic stuff. So I kind of prepared for it a couple of weeks before it was time to go out there. I was already working out and stuff, you know, so I wasn't too out of shape, but I started preparing for the actual events 2 weeks prior to it. So I did a 30-meter sprint, 45-meter sprint, 15-meter sprint, and then it was like a flying 30, which they calculated from your runs. And then you had to do a standing long jump, just like football players. And then we had a 12-pound shot put, which we had to toss it as far as we could. And then they did everything on the point system. So they looked at the points, and they said, hey, this is what you got for this. You know, this is your score. You have to score at least 450 points for us to call you back.
Okay.
So I think I scored right around 483.
Nice.
And so the next day, they never called me. I was just freaking out. I was like, okay, I went to church. Okay, now what?
I went to church.
I
went in the prayer closet.
It was like, you know, church is all long, so I was just like, dang, they still haven't, you know, called me or anything. So I was like, let me just go work out or something. So as I was driving to the gym, I got an email said, welcome to the United States Bobsled Federation.
Woo!
We cordially,
Woo!
you know, invite you to push camp.
Right.
So I always tell people, yeah, I got to push camp, and it was horrible.
Anything called push camp is horrible.
I mean, I didn't know how to push a sled. Like, I was just putting all my weight on top of the sled, and I was really, really, really over it, like, really bad. Like, you think you're doing something because the sled is moving when you're actually not contributing to that sled actually moving. Because it's going downhill, so it's going to move regardless.
Right.
But you need to actually contribute to it. So I don't know what I was doing the whole time. So some kind of way I made it through push champs. And went back home because it was a 3-month process. This all started in August. I think I went to South Carolina is where I had to try out. We had to drive to Greenville. Drove there for one day, drove back.
South Carolina?
Right.
Why they pick South Carolina?
I don't know, which is like one of the places where they were doing the trials. So I kind of chose that place. I was like, okay, maybe I could be in shape by then, and let me just go there. So I think it was like 7.5 hour drive. So at the time, my son was 3, and I thought they weren't going to pick me. And, another reason why I thought they weren't going to pick me is because my son was in the way. He was like jumping in the sand and throwing rocks. So I was like, oh, they're not going to pick me, so I can't control my own kid.
Hold on now, Sable. Hold on, Sable. Listen, this is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Sable Otey of the USA Bobsled team.
Well, and you've got another track athlete, I think, that's doing USA Bobsled. Is that correct? Is it Lolo
Jones?
Yeah.
A lot of people come from the track and field background, and I was just telling someone earlier, it's just about a matter of if they're gonna like it. Because some people can push fast, some people can run fast, but some people do not like the ride. And
the ride is important,
right? I was just explaining. I couldn't explain it because you really can't explain what the ride feels like. But I heard a pilot tell a brakeman this past week or a couple of weeks ago that the ride basically feels like someone throws you in the back of a trunk or something, and you don't know where you're going, and you're just going side to side. You know, your eyes are closed, everything is dark. That's like the first couple of rides, and then like maybe after that, once you get comfortable, it's like, okay, now I know where my house is, I know where I'm going, but I'm still in the back of a trunk and I'm still getting routed around. So it's like you kind of get comfortable, but you can't really explain that first ride. There's no way to explain it, and it's like you've never really felt a G-force. It's like gravity and G-forces, everything's like pulling you.
So you have all of that on the ride,
right?
G-forces are prevalent.
Oh yeah, that's part of the, like some tracks have more than others depending on how they're built. And the speeds vary. Like the speed that the track that I was on, I think you can get up to about 82 miles per hour. Yeah, some go to 90. It just depends on the track.
And so you have to control your body.
Let's deal with some specifics. How long is the track?
It's about, it depends. They're about a mile. Okay. A little over a mile, a little less than a mile. It just depends on where you are, because all the tracks are different. No track is the same.
Okay. So you said you get up to about 82 miles an hour.
Right.
About how much does the sled weigh?
Oh, 400 pounds.
Quit.
Right.
The sled is 400 pounds?
Alone?
Yes, the sled that I
without y'all in it, without the additional 200 whatever pounds y'all put on it?
Without us in it. They get pretty heavy. I had a really heavy sled last year. I don't know how much the sled weighed this year, but everybody kept complaining because this is a self-efficient sport. We have to move the sleds. Like we have to physically pick it up, move it, flip it. You know, so
you got to bring it from the bottom back to the top.
No, the trucks do that, but once they get to the top, we have to like maneuver them like to the ice pad and just
weight training is a big part of what you do.
Oh yeah, it is, and you have to be careful with your back. Like you have to make sure you squat, and you get some people hiding because they don't want to flip another sled because they're.
I don't think I know that they were 400 something.
No, I don't know that either. You can tell, Sable's kind of cut up. You can tell she been doing something because she got guns and everything. You talking about serious business. You see her, you know she's an athlete.
Do you get to come out of the blocks with the bobsled, or is it just inertia and your movement?
It's kind of like a block because you're essentially on a piece of wood or something that's elevated maybe an inch or two from the ground, and then you use the edge of that block to push off of it. So when you fall forward and you push, use the block to push back on it.
Right.
But only thing the difference is in the track start, your feet are staggered. In the bobsled start, your feet are even. Some people have started, like Lauren Williams, the 100-meter sprinter, she started with the stagger start, I heard. But I don't know how she could do that. Like, I would want to do that, but I feel like I wouldn't be able to apply as much pressure. But I feel like I'd have more control if I was able to start at a stagger start.
So what's the distance you have to push the sled before you jump in?
It just varies. Usually you get in after the pilot get in, or you get in after the pilot get in no matter what. Okay. But you actually get in when you feel like you can't keep up with the speed. So you don't want to slow the sled down. So if you can't keep up with the sled, then you have to get in because you're slowing it down.
That's a split second.
But you can't get in first by any. I mean, she's got to get in first.
I almost got in first.
Get on in.
I jumped in and like held myself like up on top of the sled and then lowered my body in once I saw them get in. Because it'll be like a split second right before. Like I know they're about to get in, but you don't want to you don't want to contemplate when they get in. You just need to run, do your job, and then jump in when they get in. But it's like, she about to get in, I'm getting in too. Like, you better hurry up and get down.
I don't think people think about how technical your sport is from the start and what you just described and having to get in, but then having to contribute to controlling a 400-pound sled going 80 miles an hour downhill on ice.
Right.
That's amazing. This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking with Sable Otey from the USA Bobsled team.
Now, exposure is a big thing with us, and especially with young people. So talk about, had you ever as a child watched a bobsled competition on TV like at the Winter Olympics or something? What kind of exposure had you actually had to this sport prior to beginning in it?
Does ice skating count?
No.
Only exposure.
No.
I don't think I've ever seen a bobsled. Maybe if they have come across, but I've never just actually sat down and just watched that in the winter. Like I've seen the ice skating and the routines. I've seen that stuff, but I've never really just sat down and watched bobsledding.
Right.
I've even may have seen like snowboarding or something. Probably that's it.
Right.
But I've never even really been exposed to it. I mean, after a god brother told me about it, I was like, let me look into it. So I started Googling.
Right.
Then I started familiarizing myself with it. But other than that, I didn't know anything about it.
You didn't know anything
no
about
history or anything. They're like, oh yeah, Cool Runnings. I was like, let me watch this movie so I can learn about bobsledding.
You gotta have some serious non-fear adrenaline to watch it and then go, I think I can do that.
You gotta have a serious competitive streak.
Yeah,
I'm sure you do,
I'm very
which I'm sure you have.
I'm very competitive, and I feel like if I don't know where this is gonna take me. I know God has placed this opportunity in my life for a reason, and I'm just like, if I can represent the country, and be a mom and a teacher and have a kid, and that's like a lot of people don't do that. So I'm just like, if I can do this, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna give it all I got, because you never know what your purpose is of doing things, even if you're not the best at it, or you just have to keep going. It's a reason for everything. So
that's beautiful.
That's why I feel like this is something like I have to give it everything I got.
We've got so much more to talk to Sable about, and we will start that on the other side of this brief message. Back with R&R.
My flow, my show brought me to go. That brought me all my fancy things. My crib, my cars, my clothes, my shoes. Look on me, I done came up and I ain't changing. You should love it way more than you hate it. Oh, you mad?
Busted. It's R&R on Sports with Uncle Howard, Jennifer Conroy, and Larry Robinson.
this mic wasn't so expensive, I'd throw this sucker down.
You dropped the
and
mic
walk
like
off.
like Amy Wambach.
And walk off. But you get upset
Abby,
with that.
you just totally Magic Johnsoned it. You said Amy. Her name is Abby.
Okay,
Abby.
look like Amy.
Hello, I'm Uncle Howard,
Jennifer Conroy.
I'm Larry, the fantastic Robinson.
your host for R&R on Sports.
You better get with us or I'm going to come looking for you.
Every Saturday morning, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central on the SportsByline.com network, plus RNROnSports.com, Kazukian.com, iHeartRadio.com. Get our podcast, get after us. We look forward to having you.
R&R on Sports, part of the Kazukian Network.
This is Scoop Jackson, ESPN, ESPN Deportes, ESPN2, ESPNW, ESPN.com, ESPN the magazine, ESPN. I write checks for Stephen A. Smith. You are listening to R&R on Sports.
This is how we do it. It's Friday night, and I feel alright. The party's here on the west side, so I reach for my 40.
And we're back with iConversation. Today we're talking to Sable Otey, Team USA Bobsledder. Sable, I want you to talk to us about your life, particularly as a bobsledder. But I mean, it's not like you're gonna make a ton of money on the USA bobsled professional association.
Hold on, let me ask a quick question. Let me just ask a real quick question before you get to Howard's question. Do bobsledders have groupies?
Yeah, they actually do. Like,
He wants to know where to sign up.
okay, maybe you can be the first to start the list.
Dude, like the fan club? Is there like
Yeah,
a
I
Sable
know.
Otey fan club?
I have a few people, mostly my kids, my students, as really like,
So you're a teacher.
right.
Talk about that.
So I teach with Shelby County Schools.
Okay.
My home school is Lawrence Elementary.
Lawrence.
And I go to, and the principal is absolutely amazing there. The entire staff, they're very supportive. Teachers,
What grade?
everyone. Kindergarten to 8th grade.
Okay.
So it was a little bit of a shocker to me when I first got there because I was used to doing college, and then I moved here and I did 6th to 8th grade, and then I went there and went kindergarten to 8th. I was like, great. But the little kids are the best. So, yeah, my kids are like very supportive. They're all, they think I'm just like the greatest thing ever. So that really encourages me to go even harder, even when I'm feeling down on myself or even when I'm not feeling the best. I still use that little bit of energy to conjure up something and just like, push harder, go another day. Because when we're training there, we're going hard every single day because we don't have ice at our, disposal.
Right.
So it's just like when you're training, you need to go hard every day. And sometimes your 100% is 80%, so.
What is the season of a
It has to be cold. It has to be cold
It has
and
to
icy.
be cold.
And icy.
It does, but if we actually start in August, it's still hot.
Okay.
So we start in August, and I looked at the schedule, and it looks like we're ending in April. I was like, what? The schedule just got longer this year.
Climate
But,
change.
right. Well, then it's getting closer to Olympic year, too.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they're trying to fit in more tracks and trying to fit in other stuff that they've probably never done or don't usually do until it's close to Olympic year.
So
But
you start training in August.
competitions go from now until April.
This is R&R on Sports, and we're speaking to Memphis native SCS public school teacher Sable Otey of the USA Bobsled team.
How much compensation does USA Bobsled give you in terms of travel and support, financial support for being a bobsledder?
$0.
Are you serious?
We don't get anything. We get housing. Sometimes we go to Placid if we get there early enough, or if we
Lake Placid.
let someone Lake Placid in New York. If we let one of the ladies that's doing the housing, we let her know in time that hey, we're gonna come. Can we get housing? Yes, we can get housing, and that will be food as well. But what I'm doing now, like I just left Utah, had to pay for that plane ticket. Before that, we went to Calgary, Canada, had to pay for that and housing and food. After that, we went to Lake Placid. We were fine with that, but it was just the plane tickets. And then also when I'm not working, I'm not getting paid, so I still have bills. And then, so now I have to go to Calgary on Sunday, and then on the 14th we leave to go to Whistler. We fly to Vancouver, Canada, and then we drive up to Whistler. So we're going to be there all the way through Thanksgiving. We actually have a race on Thanksgiving, and then we have to fly back here and then go back to Placid.
And you're doing this on a Shelby County public school
salary.
teacher salary.
Yeah, when I'm working.
We're gonna have to get you a GoFundMe account because
Yeah,
y'all, I'm telling
man.
you.
So when they
is the
actually
most badass
ask
girl.
for support, for the Olympians and whatnot, that's real.
You know what? A lot of those athletes, they do like kind of what I'm trying to do now. Like they reach out to people, they get sponsors, they have individual sponsors, or they get lucky and they get like, a sport to sponsor them. And like Lolo, she has to cover up a lot of the stuff that she wears. ASICS still will support her as long as she covers up, Under Armour when she puts it on. But people get like other athletes have like individuals or some companies at their hometown that supports them. So
and some of them are also professional athletes. Like you've got NBA athletes who it's not a problem to travel for USA basketball. They've got that kind of thing covered. So for you, it's not just travel, it's equipment, it's the sled, it's the everything.
It's
and
everything.
You're a mom.
Right. I'm a mom, so
you have a 4-year-old son.
Right.
And does he travel with you?
No. I want him to at least be able to see one of my races because he's always like, Mom is gone again. Mom took 2 airplanes and she's going to exercise. That's all he knows.
Aww.
So I think it'd be pretty exciting for him to actually see me in action. I think I'd probably push harder, if I had my family there.
Now, wait a minute. I got it.
I don't know. Sometimes it's the kid that makes you have that hesitation of like, this is dangerous and I don't want him to see me get hurt.
But we've got to take a pause right here to recognize Mr. Mom.
Oh my gosh, yes.
You
Hey,
have
Mr. Mom.
You have a husband that
do.
is, that really, obviously, without him helping out. Talk about that.
It gets stressful sometimes because, he has to take care of everything. And I'm like, you didn't make it happen. What's going on? I was just fussing at him. Like, if he makes a mistake or something, and I have to realize I need to back off, because he's a really good dad. Like, when I get home, I have to make sure I stay in the routine with him because he has a routine with our son. I'm like, okay, don't come in, don't give him cookies, don't do this, don't do that, because I'll come in
the fun
and
mom.
change. But he's spoiled sometimes. I'm just like, okay, I can't. If he has to go to bed at 9, make him go to bed at 9. He's 4.
Right.
Let him stay for 30 more minutes. That's what I do. I'm like, let him
Absolutely.
stay 30 more minutes. And he's like, no, we have a routine going. And I was like, okay, fine. He's doing a great job. He's very supportive. He's like, you know what? If this is going to make you better, as long as you're giving it all you got and you're saying improvements, keep going, Because there was a time where I was like, you know what? It's not right. Moms aren't supposed to be doing this. And he was like, who told you that? He was like, as long as me and you have an understanding, don't worry about what anybody else thinks.
Stand
and he's like,
up.
just keep going. And, this is a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. So I really have to, even though I don't show it a lot, I really do appreciate everything that he does because he's one of a kind, one in a million. It's hard to find people like that.
Absolutely.
Like, he's awesome. And it's hard, coming up with this newfound, thing that I'm doing, and all of a sudden I'm just not working when we built our lives on working together, as far as, for right now anyways. And then this comes up, and it's just like, okay, you need to make it happen. And it's not fair, So I'm just like, everything is working out. This year is getting much better. It's much smoother. We know what to expect.
Right.
Last year we kind of thrown in it, and we didn't really know exactly.
And you guys are a mature married couple because you got married so young.
In high school, right. We eloped in high school. So.
Ain't that something?
Boy, that's a love story. I want the rights. I want the rights to that story. On our own sports with the rights to the Sable Otey story.
I just want to watch you. I just want to watch you sled.
Yeah.
That's great. That is a great.
So, are there other sports that you really enjoy? I mean, I know you were a track star, but beyond that, are there other sports that you pay attention to that you really love the athletes and so on and so forth?
Yeah, I'm a competitor, so I like almost anything competitive. I don't like something that's going to be like a total blowout. It has to be like competition, like going back and forth. Anything, hockey or basketball, football, anything, track and field.
So who's your team, NBA-wise? Who's your team?
Honestly, I just kind of root for whoever my husband's rooting for, and he goes wherever Dwayne Wade goes.
Chicago, by the way, is balling right now.
I was in the airport last night. They were rowdy in the airport. They had the beers, and they were like, yeah. So
they were probably rowdy
about the World Series.
Yeah,
the World Series.
Yeah, that's what they were. That's what they were doing. They were watching the World Series.
Yeah, that was something to watch. That was absolutely something to watch. So, what do you see your future as? I mean, given your druthers, what would you like to see
You said druthers.
Druthers.
Yeah, it's like an old school term.
I know, I know
it's
what it
'cause I'm
means.
an old person.
I don't know if I've ever heard anybody
What
use
would
it.
you like to see happen? What would you like to see happen in the future in terms of your career?
After bobsledding,
Include bobsledding.
Including bobsledding?
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to familiarize people, like teach them about different stuff about bobsledding. I would like to, I do like different types of clinics, like sprints, hurdles, and jumps clinics. So I like to inform kids on how to use those proper techniques, but not only that, but just have that camaraderie amongst one another, and just I also do injury prevention, so teach them about injury prevention and post-injury training, because I do those clinics as well, because some kids don't have access to that stuff, or some coaches and teachers just aren't aware of what they can do, how they can use that equipment, just like at home stuff, or just stuff that's broken laying around. You can use that to nurture a hamstring injury or a quad, or a shoulder injury. So I learned a lot of stuff training at the Olympic Training Center in Chula Vista, California, when I was training for track and field. And it actually started out as a hobby, just helping people get their hamstrings better. And then I started making money off of it. I was like, oh, okay. So I did post-injury training, post-injury clinics, and then sprint and hurdles clinics and jumps clinics, and also just teaching like those 5K runners and marathon runners. I have a thing that we do called Finish Strong, like teaching them how to finish strong, and just doing all types of biomechanical things, teaching them how to use their body.
Girl's a
and
badass.
Yeah, so I want to do that. I want to have an organization to where I can do that, and because I love that. I can do that all day.
Do you see some kind of thing, precious metal with a ribbon hanging off of it in your future?
I do. And I hope to get one of those this season.
I think they come in gold, silver, and bronze. If I'm not mistaken.
I'm gonna be completely honest with you. I don't care what color.
Yeah,
it doesn't matter.
To get a medal for the country is great. It's amazing. Like this is what I did for Team USA, and I have a medal for it.
So your most immediate plan is to compete in the 2018?
Right. 2018.
Winter Olympics?
Right.
Which is where?
That's going to be in Pyeongchang, Korea.
In Korea. Wow. Okay. Tell them, with the little time that we've got left, tell people how they can support Sable Otey.
Yes.
I do have a GoFundMe, and I'm working with Mrs. Deidre Carter Malone, so you guys can reach out to her as well. They have packages and stuff there for anyone that can sponsor. Individuals can sponsor me. Small businesses can sponsor me. Anyone can sponsor. Anyone can donate. So it's just... So
there's a GoFundMe page?
Right there. I do have a GoFundMe
in your
page.
name?
Right.
Sable Otey, O-T-E-Y.
Can people contribute to your classroom?
Yeah, they can contribute to my
Here
classroom. I also have clinics that I'm also doing. So if any group wants to take part in that, we can set that up when I'm here. I don't mind working at all. So it's like I don't mind working for anything that I need to get. So
what's your theme music?
My theme music?
Yeah.
I don't really.
You got to have theme music.
Yeah, you are a superhero.
Honestly, I get really, really excited about Rocky.
Rocky, hey, that's what I'm talking about.
Okay, so you win the gold or the silver or the bronze. I'm gonna ask the question this time, and instead of the anthem going up, you get to pick the song that plays when you get the medal. What song plays? Is it Rocky, or is it something else?
It has to be the anthem. You just have to, because it's just like, it's like feeling like oh my gosh, like it's just such an honor. It's a great honor. It definitely has to be the anthem playing.
I can't wait.
All right. Sable, thank you so much for being with us here on R&R on Sports. We're letting you know right now we're going to keep up with you.
Thank you.
And we want to have you back on at some future point, particularly as we get closer to your competing in wherever in Korea you just said. We're pulling for you. We're supporting you. And anything and everything that we can do to help, we're here to do so. And we'll be back with more R&R on Sports right after this. And now it's time for us to say goodbye to all our company MIC.
Shalom.
KEY.
I holla.
Bye.
MOUSC.
Ciao, baby.
Y'all slow. Y'all so slow. So slow.
Special, not
our
slow.
goodbyes. What do you have?
Behave.
My parting words is, I am so happy that the Cleveland Negroes, the Cleveland Caucasians, the Cleveland Native Americans.
Get off of them.
Lost. I'm happy, and I hope at some point we become conscious enough as a community of people that respect one another that we will not have names like this. Like those guys, the Washington white boys.
It's not an issue with people.
The Washington porch monkeys.
It's not.
And I fought a lot because African Americans as a whole, we the ones that should be standing up for the rights of others as well. So that's my shout out.
I want to let everybody know that Kevin Turner, who passed away, former fullback for the Patriots as well as the Eagles, is the lead. He was the lead plaintiff in the CTE lawsuit, concussion lawsuit against the NFL. He passed away in March. They have to do an autopsy after you pass away to determine whether or not you had CTE. Yep. He did indeed have CTE and had it, but he wasn't but 45.
45?
45. He had it for 25 years.
Oh my God.
All from junior, playing junior football, league football, all the way up through the NFL. So shout out to the family of Kevin Turner. Y'all keep up the fight. Keep up the fight. I mean, it is well worth the
call out
endurance.
to the NFL and the NFLPA.
Absolutely.
DeMar Smith, get yourself together, man. Represent these boys, man. Take care of these folks.
And we're trying to get them back on. So with that, we're going to tell you subscribe and share, and we'll be back with more R&R at some real soon future point.
Ciao.
Y'all be cool.
R&R on Sports is recorded live at LPI Studios in the heart of Memphis, Tennessee. Web designer Daniel Coates, executive producer Larry Robinson, written by Howard Robertson, and produced by Reggie Fine. R&R on Sports, part of the Kudzukian Network.